Hey everybody, it's Aldo Gandhi, and I just want to let you know really quickly that our swag shop is reopened. DeepDishTees.com is where you go, and that's tees with T-E-E-S. Clever name, guys. They're the new home of our merchandise. You can get t-shirts, you can get caps, you can get coffee mugs, you can get hoodies, you can get all sorts of good stuff, and you'll help out the bar room with the purchase. So head over to DeepDishTees.com.
Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Every summer in Chicago, the sunshine spotlights the city's spectacular skyline. Its luxurious lakeshore, marvelous monuments, and the over 200 neighborhoods in the city. And it also brings to light two of the greatest sports franchises in the world. On the north side, it's the Cubs. On the south side, it's the White Sox. This is Crosstown Crosstalk.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 14 of Crosstown Crosstalk, presented by the Barroom Network. My name is Vinnie.
And I'm Joey Parisi.
And Joey just loves to try and throw me off, but it ain't going to work because today's a very special episode. Field of Dreams episode, kinda, sorta, both teams in town, got different storylines. We got a little special interview at the end of the show that I think will appeal to Cub fans who are going through a real rough time right now. We'll get to that in a little bit too, but the Field of Dreams, it's got to mean a lot to you to see your favorite baseball team play on that field, no?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've been saying all week for the past month or so, I've been saying how excited I am for this game. And it honestly made me even more excited watching the Field of Dreams movie yesterday. That just got me super amped up for this game tonight.
Yeah, so it's quite a movie.
Yeah.
It's a loaded movie, and I watched it yesterday for the first time in maybe 2 or 3 years. I give it a watch every couple years. But watching it now, knowing that they're about to play there, and seeing the significance of Shoeless Joe Jackson, the White Sox, how they play into that movie, it just makes today a little extra special. I don't know. I'm enjoying the whole thing. I've been all over it with, my articles and this show and all of it.
Yeah, the thing with this movie for me is I was probably, how old would you say when I saw it for the first time? I had to be no older than 5?
Yeah, around there. Probably same, to be honest.
So you're watching a movie that young, you really don't know. It's hard to understand the concept of it or what the hell's going on. But as I got older, and every single time I watch it, now I'm at the point where I understand everything completely. Obviously, I hope so. But as I kept watching it, as I got older, I kept realizing little things about the movie and how genius it is and what a great story it really is. So that makes me just love the movie more and more, that I'm able to take something I saw as such a little kid and now put a different meaning to it as I get older. And it's just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, most people, when they see the movie, they think of, how it relates to family, connecting family and baseball. But when you actually look at the optics of the plot, for example, one thing I kind of caught my eye yesterday, and keep in mind, I'm in the same boat as Joey. I saw it for the first time when I was very small. So every time I watch it now, I pick up something new as I get older and smarter. And when he meets Doc Graham in Minnesota for the first time, they drive there, right? And the movie takes place in 1989. And they find out that Doc Graham passed away 16 years prior to their arrival. And then so he's in the hotel. They're dealing with, what are they doing there? And then all of a sudden, they read in the newspaper that Terrence Mann is missing because his father tried calling him back in Baltimore, calling him in Boston. And then it's all right, let me leave the room for a little bit and let his whole family know that he's not actually missing. So when he leaves the room, he goes outside and he sees The Godfather is in the movie theater. And Richard Nixon is running for re-election. And the license plate says 1972. So he realizes that he's in a little bit of a time warp. And all of a sudden, there's Doc Graham walking with his umbrella back to the office. And he tells him that his wish is to only have one at bat. And so the whole thing with Karen falling off the bench and choking on the hot dog, his wish was he only wanted one at bat. So Karen falling off made it where he had to walk off the field to save her. He only got the one at bat. So that's kind of one thing I picked up yesterday. I enjoy everything about the movie. Moonlight Graham, when he's rocking the New York Giants jersey, I think I might have to get me one of those.
Yeah. Pretty much exactly what you said. Like when they're driving down back to Iowa and he pulls over and he says, I need all the good karma I can get. And he picks up the young kid, and then he gets in the car and he says, I'm Archie Graham. It's like, that's something that goes right over your head when you're a little kid watching that movie. But it's one of the coolest, it's probably the coolest part of the entire movie for me now that I'm like an adult watching it. And yeah, he says that he wants his one at bat. But what made it even better is he wants to look a pitcher in the eye and wink at him. And then he did that. And
make him think you know something he doesn't.
Yeah.
And then he takes one high and tight. So, yeah, the movie is just, it's interesting.
Iconic. It's an iconic baseball movie.
What do you think of those jerseys that they all wear?
The White Sox, or just like the style in jersey in general?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the style, like that whole baggy arm thing, like they're very baggy. I think it looks sick. I love everything.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I was going to say that's the one thing I could do without.
What, the bagginess?
Yeah, I kind of like my clothes tight fitting. Like,
I like the baggy look. I like the really short, stubby wool hats.
That I do like. Do. What about the mitts?
I would love to try playing catch with an old time mitt like that. Because like me and you were playing catch yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I'm always a clown, and I like to try to catch the ball without squeezing it. And it seems like that's almost kind of what you have to do when you play catch with like an old time mitt.
Yeah. So. This mitt is probably triple the size of the mitts they use in the movie.
Yeah.
And this is the first baseman's mitt. I played first base, and that's the mitt I play catch with these days. But I mean, shout out to Shoeless Joe for holding a mitt the right way, too. Finger out of the glove. That's the proper way to do it.
I mean, you almost have to with those old mitts, but I mean, you don't have to today. I think it's crazy. I think that's the most uncomfortable thing when your finger's outside. And like Santiago said, if you ever played catch with your dad, it's a perfect movie because obviously at the end it all ties together with Ray playing catch with his father, John. It's just it's honestly a flawless movie.
They call it the Field of Dreams, right? Everybody in the movie gets their dream, including Ray Kinsella. So it's like, I just think the movie from top to bottom means a lot. I'm happy the White Sox are heavily involved. It's also interesting when you evaluate that they chose the Yankees to be their opponent. And you watch the movie and you realize Ray Kinsella's dad was a Yankee fan, and that's what made him a White Sox fan.
Yeah, that's another thing that confused me as like a little kid watching the movie was I was always confused. Like, did Ray's dad play for the Yankees? But as I'm older now, it's obvious he was just a Yankees fan, and the fact that he's there playing on the field is, he's obviously
it was his dream.
Yeah, so
yeah, everybody had a dream. John Kinsella's dream was to play for the Yankees. He got to do it.
Yeah, like little kid Joey that genuinely thought that John Kinsella played for the Yankees.
Yeah, and when you like hear the ease his pain part, and you realize that Terrence Mann, played by James Earl Jones, used John Kinsella's name as a character in one of his books, that like gives you the chills too.
Mm-hmm. When he's explaining to Karen, you get a lot of like backstory and background information on the history of the whole 8 men and Shoeless Joe, and Shoeless Joe specifically, how he was one of the guys who was not a criminal. He didn't do it. He didn't know what he was signing, and the fact that they explain that, it's a great like learning movie as well of the history of that event.
Yeah, a home run, 3 doubles, 375 average, and no committed errors in the outfield. Hard to claim that guy was losing.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you unban Shoeless Joe Jackson if you were Rob Manfred?
Yes, I would.
Because you know what that would do? It would allow you to go to Baseball Reference and see. I think he still might be on Baseball Reference, But like you look at the White Sox all-time statistics leaders, and he's like in the top 5 of every category, I think, except home runs. It's like it's hard to think about him not being in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I know. Especially like if you look at his numbers, it's crazy. I just looked it up. We had a question if he was a lefty or righty, and Santiago nailed it. He batted left but threw right.
Yeah, I think that's some people's like issue with the movie. Ray Liotta's a right-handed hitter, so Shoeless Joe Jackson was batting right-handed in the movie. I think that was, people who like to get mad at everything. I think that's something they had an issue with in the movie, but like, honestly, who cares?
Yeah.
I think Shoeless Joe Jackson should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree.
His numbers prove it. His WAR was like out of this world.
Did he play left field? Was he like a?
I believe he was a left fielder.
That's where he stood in the movie. I don't know specifically.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if they ever unban him. Now's the perfect time. Like if they're not going to do it now, they never are going to, because like the Field of Dreams, the Black Sox, they're all in the spotlight right now. But it's not like you really can't prove that it was anyone other than Charles Comiskey. The other players had issues because they lost the World Series to a far inferior team. But
yeah, another baseball movie that we just have to mention now is 8 Men Out. If you're interested in the event of the Black Sox throwing that World Series, like the movie 8 Men Out it probably does a way better job at explaining it. It's a little more non-fictional, I would say, but
yeah,
movie.
Field of Dreams basically takes the story of 8 Men Out and turns it into like a magical, roller coaster of events. But I mean, I know a little bit. Charles Comiskey, he had gamblers offer him money for his team to lose the World Series to the Cincinnati Reds. And the Cincinnati Reds were a far inferior team. Back then, the National League regular season champion played the American League regular season champion in the World Series. And the White Sox were the far superior team. And, Shoeless Joe Jackson and the other 8 players, or other 7 players, I guess you could say, were banned from baseball for life by the commissioner. But it took like a 2-year investigation. It's very funny because the Houston Astros cheating scandal, the sign stealing, it made a lot of people like realize how similar it was to that, because it had a long investigation. I think they were a little more efficient with their investigation and findings here in 2000, and it was 2020 and 19, I guess. So I don't know. I really enjoy Field of Dreams. I'm excited for tonight. We're going to preview that series a little bit down the line when we talk about the upcoming series. But, any closing thoughts on the movie itself?
It's like I said earlier, it's pretty much a flawless movie in terms of just like if you love baseball and you love a good story, like watch Field of Dreams. You got Darth Vader in it. Come on now.
There are a couple times in the movie too where it's like that guy really like he's got a job because of his voice.
Like that was prime James Earl Jones.
Yeah, and not a lot of people probably know this. He's never not played Darth Vader. Anytime you've ever seen Darth Vader in a canon Star Wars film or TV show or video game, James Earl Jones plays it. Like you can look that up.
Yeah.
And there are just times throughout the movie where it's like when he's a little angry, that guy's scary.
Who the hell are you?
If either of us had his voice, do we have a learning disability here? If either of us had his voice, we would not be here right now. We'd be millionaires using our voice somewhere else.
Yeah.
The Crosstown Classic over the weekend.
Fun weekend. Fun weekend.
Great weekend. Great weekend. This is where the comments will start flowing in, I'm sure.
You beat the Iowa Cubs.
Yeah, give me a break. Like that's the White Sox fault. So they sweep the Cubs 3-0. Every game was pretty much them dummying them, except for the very first one. And had Andrew Romine not had the luckiest home run in the history of the sport, they would have probably won that game pretty handedly too. The pitch Craig Kimbrell threw that gave the Cubs the tie, to Andrew Romine's 3-run home run had an expected batting average of 170. It was a great pitch, and Andrew Romine laid down a great swing. You can't do anything other than tip your cap to him on that.
Yeah, it was the first game all season and in a while. I actually listened to that entire game on the radio, which is something that I rarely do, listening to games on the radio. And I genuinely I enjoyed the experience. I just wanted to say that. The broadcast was flawless. I've got a great visual of everything. And I was a little pissed when Craig gave up that home run, because we all know how big I am on Craig, and seeing him come in and face his old team, that was a little disheartening, but he made up for it the next day.
He sure did. And like I said, expected batting average of 170 on the pitch that he gave up to Romine. I mean, I give full props to Romine. I tip my cap to him. It was the only game in the series that was close. You said you listened to it on the radio. Len Casper was doing the television broadcast for that series. So you actually got Connor McKnight, and he's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was honestly perfect.
Yeah, Connor McKnight normally does the post-game show on ESPN 1000 when Len Casper's in the booth and Jason Benetti's there. Speaking of Jason Benetti, we know you're watching. We hope you are doing okay with your COVID-19 battle right now, and we're thinking of you, and we can't wait to see you back in the booth with Steve Stone. 45 strikeouts for the entire White Sox pitching staff over the course of the 3-game series against the Cubs. Is that good White Sox pitching or bad Chicago Cubs hitting?
I think it's both, because that Saturday game with Rodon, he was feeling it. Probably beside his perfect game / no-hitter, the one that he didn't get against Minnesota. Besides that game, this was probably the best he's looked in a long time. And yeah, it was versus the Cubs. I mean, a lot of young talent in that lineup. But I think the pitching from Rodon kind of overdid the fact that they were inexperienced players for the Cubs. I think it was a phenomenal game. I think he would have done that against a lot of teams if he was throwing the way he was throwing on Saturday.
Yep, you answered my question exactly the way I wanted you to. The Cubs stink. They're gonna strike out, But I'm gonna tell you something. You look up Rodon, Lynn, Cease all season long, they're a lock from anywhere from 9 to 13 strikeouts every single game, no matter who the opponent is. If you blame them for being the Iowa Cubs, you don't know baseball, because those guys get an incredible amount of strikeouts every single time they're out there. Shout out Frank for taking the under on Dylan Cease that day. We all remember that debacle. There's no doubt that the White Sox are strikeout machines. They're the only team in White Sox history to have 4 pitchers with 100 or more strikeouts by the All-Star break. I don't want to hear anything about the Cubs. Let me tell you something. If Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, and Javier Baez were still in that lineup, instead of 45 strikeouts, it might have just been 42. Because Javier Baez leads the National League in strikeouts. That guy is a whiff machine. They might have had more had that guy been in the lineup, now that I think about it. But Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant might have got a bat on it. But still, I don't want to hear anything about that. The White Sox shut them down. Michael Kopech, filthy. Most filthy pitcher I've ever seen pitch for the White Sox. Craig Kimbrell's nasty. Liam Hendricks, shout out to him for the way he pitched on Friday specifically. Ryan Tepera, Aaron Bummer has looked as good as I've ever seen him look. The White Sox pitching is great. I don't care who the opponent is. They keep them in every single game.
That's another guy, Bummer. That was the best he's looked since his injury on Saturday specifically. Kopech was, out of all the pitchers who went on Saturday, Rodon, Kopech, Bummer, Kimbrell, and Tepera all went on that Saturday game.
The only one who had a little bit of traffic was Michael Kopech.
It was Kopech, and that's saying something, because he didn't look terrible. I mean,
I think he gave up 1 hit and 1 walk, which is unlike him.
Yeah, exactly. There's improvements that need to be made with his game, but I mean, that'll come. I'm not worried about that. Bummer was filthy, and then it was just Bummer, Kimbrell, Tepera. It was unreal.
Do you know that Michael Kopech has struck out 46% of all his outs?
That's crazy. I would love to know the MLB average.
It's less than 40, it's in the way below that. I think Dirty Craig is right up there too in the 40 percentile. Michael Kopech's whiff rate is amazing. And listen, King Pookie, AAA lineup, that's their own doing. The White Sox don't have to apologize for dominating the Cubs. What am I supposed to sit here and act like the Cubs fans wouldn't be gloating if they swept the White Sox in 2018? Of course they would. Get out of here with that AAA lineup stuff. The Cubs stink. The White Sox don't. They swept them. I'm happy about it. I don't care. Patrick Wisdom is capable of hitting home runs. It was about a week before, Rafael Ortega had 3 home runs in the same game. AAA lineup, Wilson Contreras goes 0 for 4 with a golden sombrero on Saturday. Carlos Rodon struck him out 3 times. I think Michael Kopech did once, something like that. He had a golden sombrero, 4 strikeouts. Wilson Contreras, your guy, your number 1 threat in the lineup, 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. I don't want to hear any of this AAA lineup stuff, King Pookie. No, not doing it.
The man has spoken. The man has spoken.
Not happening on my watch. I will say I have in my notes, it was a lose-lose situation for the White Sox. Because if they sweep them like they're supposed to, you're going to have the King Pookies of the world going, they beat a AAA lineup. And then if they would have lost a game because Major League Baseball teams lose games to other Major League Baseball teams, you lost to a AAA line. Like, it was a lose-lose situation. But, I mean, they went out there. They handled their business. They're gone. And I know the Milwaukee Brewers are pretty happy about the fact that they have a 5-0 lead over the Cubs. They're trying to win a division. Nobody cares who's being thrown out there. You're a Major League Baseball team. If you're a joke, and I want to beat you.
Well said. And then the only game I don't think we talked about was Sunday's blowout. Dylan Cease versus Zach Davies. Talk about a guy who just has been showing up. Eloy Jimenez, huh? How about Eloy?
Eloy Jimenez is the best young hitter I've ever seen play for the White Sox. Now, people will bring up Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas deserves his credit. He was right there. There's something about Eloy. He's the first White Sox. He's the fastest to ever hit 50 home runs in a White Sox uniform.
Yeah, when I saw that, like that's remarkable.
Abreu and Fisk were tied for the record, I think, before him. And he didn't just beat it. He beat it by like 30 games. Eloy Jimenez is unbelievable. And it's just an extra salt in the wound because if he was in the Cubs lineup right now, things would be very different. Dylan Cease would be their ace. I mean, Dylan Cease is probably better than Kyle Hendricks at this point. At least his stuff is nastier. I think he has to go out there and execute a little more to prove it to people, including myself. But I mean, Dylan Cease has low-key been one of the best pitchers in the league. I think in his last 10 starts, he has the highest F-WAR amongst qualified starting pitchers. And we're talking about guys like Lance Lynn, Jacob deGrom, Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Lucas Giolito, like all the best pitchers in the league. And the White Sox rotation is filthy, and it was on full display against the Cubs.
It was. After that Sunday game, I'm going to be completely honest. I have another week, okay? You know where I'm going with this. After that Sunday Cubs game, I was literally prepared to tell you. I was prepared to tell you that I flipped. You're right. Eloy needs to be in left field. He bats better when he's in left field. And then that Monday game came. They traveled to Minnesota. Eloy's the DH, and how did he do, Vin?
He hit 2 home runs for the second night in a row.
Yeah. DH or not does not matter. I don't believe that he will suffer from being a designated hitter at the plate.
Yeah, we'll see. I really want him to DH tonight because
if he would have sucked in this Minnesota series, and granted they lost 2 out of the 3, if he would have been just obsolete, I would have been like, yeah, okay, play him in left field. There's got to be something here. Vinny was right. I'm flipping. I'm not flipping yet. I think he needs to still be DH.
I still think I'd keep him in left. He did have a very good game as the DH. That was the first game and only game he was good as the DH. So we'll see what happens there. I do want him in left tonight because if you look at those fences at Field of Dreams, they don't look like they give very much. And I don't need this guy running into the wall at the Field of Dreams game. I'm a little worried about when the lineup comes out. If it comes out while we're on air, we will read it off. I don't have it yet. And I don't know. Eloy Jimenez is just unbelievable. I want to address the Twins series really quick. They slaughtered them on Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then on Tuesday, Dallas Keuchel did not look very good, and they only lost the game 4-3. I'm about to be an excuse machine for yesterday's loss, and I rip on the White Sox when they lose. You can follow me on Twitter at Vinnie Parisi and get my unbiased opinion every single time. I do have an excuse for Wednesday, though. They gave up one run. One. It was a dinky solo shot. Jose Ruiz, he's been really good this year. I'm not going to get on him for giving up a dinky solo shot. In a stadium that's very hard to give home runs in. I mean, Target Field. You hit a home run there. The White Sox play in a couple pitcher-friendly ballpark division. But Eloy Jimenez and Abreu were the only, like, studs that were in the lineup. Moncada, Anderson, Vaughn, we're all out of Robert. We're all out of the lineup getting ready for the Field of Dreams game tonight. Just a maintenance day off. And every time there was a runner in scoring position, Leury Garcia came up, or Zach Collins, or Sebi Zavala, or even Brian Goodwin. I know Brian Goodwin has a couple clutch home runs, but he's not the guy you want like coming up to bat regularly with runners in scoring position. Like, he's just not that guy. So really, I almost think it doesn't matter. That's the third game against the Twins. The game on Tuesday pissed me off. They should have won that game. I would not have put out Dallas Keuchel in the sixth inning. They had a 3-2 lead, and Keuchel had a nice little 5-inning outing. Get Michael Kopech or someone in there, you probably win that game. But instead, Dallas Keuchel gives up an absolute moonshot, and the Twins take a 4-3 lead, and the offense can't get it done in the eighth or ninth inning, or whatever. Tonight against the Yankees, Lance Lynn, if he pitches the way we know Lance Lynn can, and that lineup gets Moncada, Robert, Vaughn, TA, all back in with Abreu, Jimenez, Cesar Hernandez has been probably one of the best trade deadline acquisitions. Adam Engel will be back in the lineup. I don't believe he played yesterday either. I'd have to double check that. But they're going to score some runs on Andrew Heaney, the left-handed pitcher who the Yankees just acquired at the trade deadline.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Cesar Hernandez's, back-to-back games against the Cubs where he went yard. But yeah, I agree. And is the lineup not even out yet for tonight? No. Well, keep an eye out because I'd be surprised if it doesn't come out like at least during this show, right?
I would think it comes out at some point. No, I got it. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Lance Lynn, especially, he's a fastball guy. I think it should be good against this Yankees team. I wanted Lance Lynn to start 3 weeks ago before we knew Rodon was pitching. I've been hoping Lance Lynn gets the start. So,
and for those who don't know, Carlos Rodon, he is going to be on the 10-day IL with left shoulder fatigue. It is his throwing arm, obviously. I'm okay with it. It's probably a phantom IL stint. Like, guy hasn't pitched a full season in like 3 years. They're probably managing his innings. Get ready for the playoffs. We know how nasty his stuff is. I'm not even slightly worried about Los. He's probably my number 2 in the rotation. We talk about this on South Burbs Hitman a lot. Shout out Gonzo, Zim, and Joe. If you guys are watching, you could chime in the chat. I don't give a shoot who the White Sox pitch in what order. I would do it based on home and away. I really, really would. Dylan Cease at home, his numbers are... I would do Lance Lynn first no matter what. You flip Rodon or Cease based on if you have home field or not. The White Sox likely will have home field in the first round. I don't know. I'm feeling this White Sox pitching staff, and Lance Lynn has given up 3 runs or less in 19 of his 20 starts this season. The only one he gave up more than 3 was the game we were at against the Rays. That's
the story of all the games I've been to this season.
I know, and Glasnow shoved.
Sorry, I only go see other teams' aces. That's what I
sometimes it feels that way. We do it on purpose though sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Lance Lynn tonight. I really, really do against that Yankee lineup.
What do you think about the Sox being about 500 since the break?
I'm content with it. It happens. You go on 15, 20 game stretches where you're 500. You're playing in the dog days. Every team did it. Remember the 2018 Red Sox?
Mm-hmm.
They were the best team in franchise history, 108 wins. I don't think the White Sox are going to win 108 games. I'm not going there. But we just got the lineup.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Finish.
Hold on. Let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
From late June to early July, the Red Sox kind of muddled along, and then like mid-August, they just caught fire. They swept the Yankees, I remember, in back-to-back weekend series. I don't know. People bring up the record against teams over 500. The Dodgers are under 500 against teams with winning records. The Brewers are, I think, just a game or two under 500 against teams. Teams with good records have good records for a reason. They are hard to beat. The White Sox are no different than any other of the good teams. It's just the narrative that people like to have. They don't like to accept the fact that the White Sox are an elite team. I'm pretty sure Santiago's a White Sox fan, though, based on some of the comments I've gotten in the chat. If you would like to confirm that with me, Santiago, I would appreciate it. Yeah, not worried at all. Couldn't be worried, actually.
Speaking of the Red Sox, real quick, this series is big for even them. This White Sox,
everyone in the country is rooting for the White Sox.
Yeah, except the people in the Bronx.
Yeah, in Yankee Town.
Yeah, he is.
I do believe that the Yankees are good, but Rizzo being out with COVID-19, Gleyber Torres is out, Fat Gary's out. They're not at full strength. Santiago, you are a White Sox fan. I love to hear it. I promise you, 11-11 since the All-Star break, something like that. They're not playing at full strength yet. And I know I sound like I'm making excuses. I am, but I fully endorse what I'm saying. I'm not saying it because I'm like a fanboy. They've stunk for how long? And I've been here to say it. Now that they're finally good, I believe in this team. I believe in this lineup that I'm looking at right now. And I don't see any way that they can't, if they lose today, Field of Dreams, both teams are going to be amped. The Yankees, I think the White Sox are better than the Yankees. The team that got swept back in May is a very different team than there is right now. Let's get into it. Leading off, playing shortstop, Tim Anderson. TA, one of the best leadoff guys in the league. 2 out of the last 3 games he's played, he hit a leadoff home run to give the White Sox a 1-0 lead, 5 or less pitches into the game. And then that third game, he hit it to the warning track. So love TA leading off. Batting second and playing second base is Cesar Hernandez, best trade deadline acquisition.
I love that this guy can bat second or eighth.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so good. He's so good defensively, Gold Glove caliber. Cleveland Indians gave the White Sox their second best hitter. Jose Ramirez is their best hitter. Their second best hitter while they were in second place behind them. Batting third, playing first base is Jose Abreu. Batting fourth and playing left field is Eloy Jimenez. Batting fifth and playing third base, Mr. Desastre Personal himself, Yoan Moncada. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, probably for the first time I've ever seen this, is Andrew Vaughn. Batting seventh, the center fielder, Luis Robert. Batting eighth and playing right field, Adam Engel. And batting ninth and catching is Sebi Zavala and not Zach Collins. So this is as good of a White Sox lineup as they've ever had. Andrew Heaney, the lefty, White Sox are known for smashing lefties, is in big trouble. He's a strikeout guy, though. A couple White Sox are going to strike out. I'm warning you right now, White Sox fans. Andrew Heaney has like 120 strikeouts in like 100 innings. He's got some good stuff, but he will leave things over the plate. I would not be even slightly surprised if one of the big guns on the White Sox takes out an entire urn of corn with one of their blasts. I mean, I truly believe it.
Yeah, I love that lineup. I'm looking at it right now, and then obviously you have Lance Lynn as the starting pitcher. Aside from, the order, I don't care about the order or where they're at position-wise. If you put Grandal as that catcher, this is their elite lineup. This is it.
Grandal would probably be batting third or fourth.
That's what I'm saying. The order would change and maybe some positions, whether you have Eloy DH or Eloy in left. But aside from that, if you insert Grandal in place of Sebi Zavala, then this is their game one. Like, okay, let's do this. this is the
It's
roster.
a World Series caliber lineup. I'm not saying they will win the World Series. Winning the World Series is hard.
Yeah.
It is freaking hard. No team should just roll into the playoffs assuming they're going to. That is a team that can, though, and I fully believe it. I've never believed it more in my life. I actually have never believed it because 2005 came out of nowhere. The only time I really thought the White Sox had a chance to win the World Series, I believed it that they could go back to back in 2006. Because all they did in 2006 was replace Aaron Rowand with Jim Thome. And Brian Anderson moved to center, and Jim Thome is like low-key one of the best hitters they've ever had. He's not like near the top of any of their record books because he wasn't there as long as a Paul Konerko or a Frank Thomas or a Jose Abreu. But while he was there, there's no doubt he was one of the best players to ever play for them.
Yeah. And I don't think the Yankees have submitted their lineup yet, so we'll keep an eye out for that because
I'll report the Yankee. I get notifications for the Yankee lineup, so I'll report the Yankee lineup if it comes out. I'm assuming we'll see Giancarlo Stanton.
We will not see, sorry to all the Cub fans who will be tuning in, we will not see Anthony Rizzo.
Is that not a shot at Cub fans?
No, that's not a shot. I was like genuinely excited to see him.
It was a COVID shot joke.
Oh.
I
was excited to see him though. I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of always liked
in person over the weekend. I'm not sorry he's not playing today. Sorry, I want the White Sox to win, and Anthony Rizzo not playing is an advantage to the White Sox.
That's another thing. I think they were talking about it when I listened to that game on the radio. When you're playing a team, you kind of always have thought one way, and I'm wondering if you changed based off what you just said. When you're playing a team, if they're missing someone due to injury or whatever the reason may be, and it's like obviously like one of their star players, like, are you happy about it, or are you like, I want to beat this lineup at their best? How do you feel about that?
I have always had the opinion that you beat what's in front of you. If Anthony Rizzo's playing, you got to shut him down. If you're facing Garrett Cole, you got to hit him. If they're not there, though, I'm not crying about it. Why would I? Why would I? Like the White Sox are 66 and 43, something like that. They play in a crap division. Whose fault is that? No one's.
7-48.
67 and 48?
Mm-hmm.
It is no one's problem that they're in that division. Like, yeah, 67. Okay. I just think, no, I don't care. Beat whoever's in front of you. If, like I said, I'm not rooting for anyone to get hurt. I cracked the shot joke about Rizzo. I pray he's fine. He's a cancer survivor. He's a great dude. I love Anthony Rizzo. I despised every minute that he played for the Cubs because I wish he was on any other team because I would probably have his shirt. I love that guy. I cracked my joke. It's over. Like, COVID is serious. I hope he's fine. I hope everybody that in the Yankees organization that has like 4 or 5 guys, I'm kind of worried about the White Sox getting it. I really hope, everything's taken care of on that front. But no, you beat who's in front of you. If you catch a break, you catch a break. Yeah. Do you think like the Indians wish that? No, that's a bad example. Do you think the Cubs were like mad that they didn't have to face Trevor Bauer in the World Series?
No.
Like, exactly.
Or like yesterday, were the Twins mad about the lineup of the White Sox?
No, they won 1-0 with pride. They won 1-0 with pride.
They didn't look at that win as like, well, we won, but I mean, look at the lineup we beat. Like,
yeah,
they didn't have their.
I think a really good example is the Trevor Bauer one. He thought it'd be a good idea to play with a drone while being in the World Series, and he cut his hand and couldn't pitch against the Cubs in the World Series. There are a lot of people angry with Trevor Bauer right now, myself included, but I will never forgive him for playing with a drone and being unable to pitch against the Cubs in the World Series. That pissed me the F off. I wanted the Indians to win that series in 4, and who knows, maybe they would have if Trevor Bauer would have not been a complete moron. But I mean, like you said, the Cubs, they're not crying about it. So you play who's in front of you.
So that's kind of what I think. And I just had to ask you because I thought of you when I heard that on the radio, because I remember you used to say, specifically in hockey, like if the Bruins were playing like the Leafs and Austin Matthews was hurt, like I would be happy about it. I'm not happy he's hurt, but I'm happy like okay, you get to
It's a
play.
break.
Yeah, you get to play a
You
team
break
without
something.
their best player.
Yeah.
But I just remember remember hearing people say like, "Oh, you want to beat a team when they're at their best, though. It means more." But I
Like,
mean, I don't.
there were Bears fans who were happy when Aaron Rodgers showed up to Packer camp. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're happy that Aaron Rodgers showed up to Packers camp? Do you want to finish in second again?
Yeah.
Like, they're going to finish in second again because Aaron Rodgers is mad and pissed off and wants to light the world on fire. That's awful news. I don't want to beat the Packers when they have Aaron Rodgers. They can't beat the He's like 28-3 against the Bears again in his career. Like, I don't want to face Aaron Rodgers anymore. I'm done with the guy. Fuck him. You know, I don't want to. Yeah, no. Play who's in front of you. When you catch a break, count your lucky stars.
Good.
Cubs
So,
are
yeah, the Yankees will be
without what?
the Cubs will be without, or the Yankees will be without Anthony Rizzo.
And Gleyber Torres, Garrett Cole. I actually thought they were going to pull some BS, and I'm still not ruling it out. I won't believe it until the lineup card actually comes out. I was thinking they were going to activate Garrett Cole right in time for today. And until I see Andrew Heaney on the mound taking his warm-ups today, I'm still not going to believe that he's starting over Cole. Because it did seem like he just got COVID conveniently. And I'm not, like I said, I'm sensitive. I hope he's okay. I don't want anyone coming at me. It just seemed a little funny to me that like a week before. But I mean, apparently these guys, if they get it and they actually test positive and they like are symptomatic, they're like out for 2 weeks or whatever it is. So like Rizzo's for sure not playing. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Yankees going forward because they need those guys healthy. And when they're there, that could be a really good team.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure we'll talk about we'll go back to the Yankees when the lineup comes out and when we talk because I want to talk a little bit about the AL East a little later. But yeah, let's talk about this Cubs Brewers series.
Yeah, we could talk about both East divisions.
These must be makeup games, right? This series has been going on for
no, it's a 4-game series, I believe, and the game on Monday got canceled.
Oh,
the storm, and they had a doubleheader yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't remember the exact day that there was a doubleheader. I want to say.
Yeah, I'm looking now. It was Monday. I don't know. I just feel like they've been playing the Brewers for a long time. I don't know if it's because I forgot about them during the White Sox series or what.
Yeah, they went straight to Wrigley, or they stayed at home at Wrigley Field to play the Brew Crew after the Sox. And Monday's game, we all know about the monsoon that rolled through town for the last 3 days, and it caused them to play a doubleheader. The Cubs.
They have not won since they played the Colorado Rockies on August 4th.
Yes, they are 1-9 in their last 10 and have lost 7 in a row. They're down 5-1. I never count down any team, although Woodruff is pitching for the Brew Crew, and he very well could win the Cy Young.
Mm-hmm.
It'll all depend on Jacob deGrom's innings for the season. But I mean, the Brew Crew are good. They're so good.
Yeah, they're so good, and like. There's really not much to say other than the Cubs. Like you can tell, like this lineup, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to. I don't even know if they'll win another series the rest of the season.
They were debating
that bad.
Friend of the program, David Kaplan, his partner Jonathan Hood. You know, I'm a big fan of theirs. I listen every day. They were debating if this lineup is worse than the 2012 lineup. And for those who don't know, the 2012 lineup is the lineup that started the rebuild. Theo Epstein came to town, got rid of guys like Jeff Samardzija and, traded for Addison Russell and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of think it is worse than the 2012 lineup. I don't know if you remember any of the, like had Starlin Castro in it. Anthony Rizzo came up. Like at least if they're, let's pretend they're even. If they're even, I would say that lineup in 2012 was better just because there was hope.
Was that the lineup that had like
hope here yet?
Was that the lineup that had like Fukudome on it?
No, that was a little before. That was before. They were trying to win with Fukudome, like 08, 09, the Lou Piniella years. I want to say. I want to say he was Fukudome's coach. The 2012 lineup, it was like, okay, they're going to be really bad. They're going to have a high draft pick. Ended up with Chris Bryant. They'll be bad again. Ended up with Kyle Schwarber. They got Javier Baez in the pipeline. Theo Epstein is one of the greatest young presidents of baseball operations in the history of the sport. He ended the Red Sox curse. He's going to end the Cubs curse. It was a foregone conclusion in 2012. But this year, there's nothing. I believe I'm blanking on his name right now, the Cubs' top prospect. I see our friend Chubbs is in the chat right now. Chubbs, prove to me you're a real Cubs fan right now and tell me who the Cubs' number 1 prospect is. Whoever that guy is, and then Brennan Davis. He's their number 2 prospect. I believe both of them would be the top 2 prospects in the White Sox organization right now. Like, they're that good. Beyond them, though, I still think the White Sox have a better farm system, and they're in first place in the division. The Cubs have a lot of work to do. I'm very high on their top 2 prospects. Brennan Davis is awesome. He's becoming a friend of the program. Hint, hint for those Cub fans who think I'm so mean to you. I'm actually doing something very nice for you, Cub fans. We got a big guest in the works. I like those 2 guys for the Cubs. I like the guy they got for Javier Baez, Peter Crow Armstrong, very good player. But there are some teams ahead of them in the MLB standings that have better prospect pools. So there's a lot of work to do.
So yeah, maybe the future. I guess you can't really say the future was bad in 2012 because they won it 4 years later. But I mean,
yeah, no, it wasn't bad in 2012.
So you're saying all around the 2012 lineup is better?
It was better, and there was more hope behind it.
Yeah, because they had a better prospect pool. Than
yeah,
now,
and you knew that they would be bad for a while, but you trusted Theo. They didn't draft well. I will say that. Davis, yes. First name though, Chubbs. First name. Yeah, in 2012, the rebuild started. Ian Happ is a crappy draft pick. That guy stinks. Albert Almora Jr., bad draft pick. Addison Russell was a good pickup in the Jeff Samardzija trade, but he decided that beating up women and his wife was an enjoyable time for him, so he got cut and he's playing in the other league. Brennan Davis is who I mentioned. Braylon Marquez is who I was thinking of. Thank you, Santiago, the real Cubs guy in this chat. Braylon Marquez is who I was thinking of. Brennan Davis is a friend of the program. He will be on for all Cubs fans who say I don't do anything for them. Chris Bryant was the best draft pick they had. Kyle Schwarber was an okay draft pick, but I'm pretty sure they'd probably rather have like Trey Turner. I don't know. They got to be better at drafting and developing pitching going forward. We're hoping that
you finally said the key word for me is pitching. You need a good, not only like rotation, but you need a good bullpen. And
for 9 years now, they've been bad at developing pitching.
Mm-hmm.
The one guy they had was Dylan Cease, who is now one of the best pitchers on one of the best teams in the American League. And he was the second prospect in that trade.
It's like right on cue with our friend Gonzo saying, "Thanks, Cubs."
We need to get the soundbite of Jason Benetti saying, "Thanks, Cubs," where I could just hit a button and have it at any time I want.
I know for a fact we can probably make that happen.
I would like to make that happen. I like Braylon Marquez and Brennan Davis. Outside of that, we got to get that Cubs prospect pool more developed. And, we have a very special guest coming on later in the show and someone I'm now rooting for in the Cubs organization. A little preview for what's to come in a couple minutes here. But 1-9 in their last 10. They got the Marlins and the Reds coming up after they probably end up losing this game to the Brew Crew. Now they're going to come back and win, and people are going to, cut that up and make fun of me, which go for it if that happens. Thoughts on the Marlins and the Reds?
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, not necessarily about the whole series. Tomorrow, I think it is, Alzolay is going, and he started off really good, promising, and he just fell off a cliff. What's your take on Adbert Alzolay?
Adbert Alzolay, and this is my true unfiltered opinion. I'm talking to you, Cub fans. Listen to me, Cub fans. Adbert Alzolay is going to be so good. Do I think he's like an ace? Maybe not. Think of Diet Dylan Cease. That's a good way to put it. Dylan Cease is going to be a superstar, is a superstar. Again, all the numbers prove it. Adbert Alzolay can be a good 2 or a 3 in a rotation. He's going through those early career bumps and bruises. Dylan Cease went through it. Lucas Giolito went through it. I truly start to evaluate pitchers. It also kind of depends on their like status, but Adbert Alzolay is like a top prospect type pitcher. After about 35 starts, I would expect him to like really, really, really start to dominate. And he'll take his bumps and bruises and stuff, but I study the White Sox the most, and like Kopech and Giolito each had more AAA starts than someone like Dylan Cease, or even Garrett Crochet, who had 0. That's why what Crochet is doing is remarkable. But yeah, I think Adbert Alzolay will be a good 2, a good 3. If he's a 3, that means the Cubs built up a really nice rotation. I would trade Kyle Hendricks because I believe they can get a Jose Quintana like return for him, being like 2 teams' top prospects, just because he's a good pitcher on a quality contract, team friendly. You know what you're going to get out of him. A team like the Dodgers trying to replace Trevor Bauer, and of course Max Scherzer over the offseason, they'd give a premium for Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah.
Would they give up Taylor? Which I don't know if the Cubs would want someone like that. They probably want younger guys, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I say there's no way that Hendricks doesn't get moved at some point because the return is there.
And it's not going to be there forever. We saw it with Anthony, Chris, and Javi. So, you got any last thoughts on the Cubs? Preview the Marlins and the Reds.
I actually do think tomorrow's game against the Marlins with Alzolay, he didn't look good against the White Sox, but he pitched against the White Sox, right? That was the last time we've seen him.
Yeah,
I think so.
Alzolay.
Yeah, did he pitch?
He pitched very well on Saturday. Very well.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think that's the game they're gonna win out of the Marlins. The Reds, I don't know. It's hard to say that they're gonna really string much together, but there's that Marlins hat. Didn't you buy that intentionally when they played them in the playoffs?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
yeah, I actually think they're gonna do well against the Marlins.
You think?
Yeah, I do. No team in baseball. People keep calling them a AAA lineup. I don't want to hear any of that BS. It's all BS to me when I hear that. It really is. Patrick Wisdom's 30 years old. Braylon Marquez is good, or not Braylon. Now I got Braylon Marquez on my mind. Rafael Ortega. I couldn't even remember his name 10 minutes ago. Rafael Ortega is almost 30. These aren't like young upcoming Cubs that they're relying on for the future like people think they are. Just because they're new to you doesn't mean they're new to the league. They're going to put on a show against the Marlins. I actually like them against the Marlins. 2-1.
I'll say 1-2, and then probably swept by Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's an issue. Joey Votto is the new Cubs killer.
Yeah. I've completely given up on Zach Davies, and I believe he'll pitch on Saturday.
Yeah, he's pitching this weekend against the Fish.
Yeah. And then Mills on Sunday. I don't know. I can't put any stock in this pitching staff and then their lineup there. It's bad.
They're in trouble.
Yeah.
Would you like to get into the interview with Cole Franklin first, or would you like to go over the New York Yankees starting lineup?
Let's finish off the Cubs talk with sending it over to a Cubs prospect himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cubs prospect Cole Franklin. Enjoy. We have a very special guest. I would like to welcome on Cole Franklin, Chicago Cubs right-handed pitching prospect, number 9 on Cubs MLB.com prospect list. Cole, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you guys? Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's it been, man?
It's been good, man. It's been good. It's been hot out here in Arizona, but other than that, everything's going good.
Yeah, we've been dealing with some crazy weather here in Illinois too, so I totally understand you on that. You were drafted in 2018 in the 6th round, 188th overall. What was that moment like for you as a baseball player and for your family, just to know that you were selected by a Major League Baseball team?
It was a dream come true. Like playing baseball, your overall goal is obviously to play professionally, and it's almost like a relief at some point, knowing that I finally, all the work I put in, growing up has finally paid off a little bit, but there's always also still so much more of the road to go. But man, it's almost like I get this question, and it's hard for me to put into words, like kind of how excited you are in the moment, and like how shocking it is to you. It's like you can't put it into words.
Yeah, it's probably like surreal. It's a dream come true, honestly.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So as a pitcher, what types of pitches do you use at a level that you're very confident in? What kind of pitches do you think need work for you?
So I throw a fastball and a four-seam fastball, and I throw sinker, changeup, and curveball, and knuckle curveball. So I'm very confident in fastball, changeup. I've been throwing changeup since I can't even remember, but curveball definitely could be more consistent, and that's what I've really worked on a lot, like building back up and throwing here the spring training in Arizona. But man, I'm really confident in fastball, changeup, and thankfully now my curveball's gotten to a point where it's like I'm way 100% more comfortable with it than I used to be. But
yeah, what level, like in your development, do you kind of start incorporating different pitches like that?
It's kind of up to you. Like it's kind of up to like once you see a point where it's like, okay, I need a fourth pitch. I need an extra pitch. So kind of it's based on like how hitters are seeing your pitches, how you're out there competing, and like if you're getting shellacked, you got to change something up. Yeah. So I mean, it'll tell itself.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear like about development of pitches and when you decide to bring it to the table. So, I noticed Ryan Franklin is your uncle. What was it like having him around? A former Major League Baseball All-Star. Did he help at all in your development, or does he help you at all right now? Is he involved in any way?
Growing up, it was mainly my dad. So my dad played 10 years professionally as well, not big leagues, but my uncle like kind of opened me up to things I've never seen before, like being able to go in like the St. Louis Cardinals clubhouse when I was 9 years old, meet Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, all those guys, it's an amazing experience. But overall, I mean, kind of bits and pieces, he's chimed in and definitely helped me on pitch grips, on kind of like learning how to get like the top tier big leaguers out.
I wanted to hear about a time that you've had pitching. It could be any level, very young, recent, that sticks out to you. Like, what's your most memorable moment on the mound?
It was high school. It was my my last start in high school, and there was like area scouts, there was coordinators and stuff to come watch me throw. And when I first started pitching, I had like some like bicep pains, and I was like, this is to get to state in high school, and so my arm was like killing me, and I literally like started off when I was like I could barely lift my arm, and because like it's called dead arm, and so I'd go in the locker room, like take ibuprofen, then I'd get it stretched out, and then eventually I ended up throwing a complete game shutout with like 14 strikeouts, and going from like how I felt in the first inning to where it progressively got better. I think that was probably the thing that stuck out to me most when I'm on the mound.
I could imagine that being amazing, and then especially like you said, your last high school game. So you got your whole path ahead of you, kind of going out on a good note like that. That's fucking awesome.
Yes, sir.
What is something you enjoy doing away from the field?
Man, I enjoy golfing. I enjoy hanging with my friends. I really enjoy playing video games, and so I would say those are definitely top three from away from the field.
For sure. What are we playing right now?
Call of Duty, man. Warzone.
Yeah, same.
Yes,
we would like to hear that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming you obviously are following the MLB. What do you think of like all this crazy trade deadline moves, especially like with the Chicago Cubs, all the stuff they've done?
Dude, I was shocked. I mean, just like just kind of seeing those guys. Like, so I was drafted in 18, so I got to kind of see them, for a couple of years, like coming through the minor leagues. And dude, watch, like they stuck out so much, like in the weight room and like the training room and the cafeteria and stuff. And so like I just couldn't believe like that happened so quick. And it was almost like, wow, I mean, I'm not gonna see those guys anymore. And it's just like it's like crazy to think about, like not seeing them like during spring training.
Yeah, so like you did have the opportunity at different points to meet Anthony Rizzo, Javier Baez, Chris Bryant, all those guys.
Yes, mainly Chris Bryant was the one I kind of met like and talked to a little bit.
Can you talk about how he might have given you advice or anything like that?
Man, he was always big on mentality and like always having that like dog mentality when you step in between the white lines, and no one's going to take any. You're the best player on that field whenever you step in between the white lines, and it was one of the best things I've ever heard in my entire life. Just like how he approaches the game, and dude, I was like blown away because like you don't really hear much from him like off the field and stuff, but he was telling me like when he steps across that white line, he's like, you can't have any inch of doubt in your mind. Like you're the man. And I was
Awesome.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's interesting hearing that, and I like hearing that about like pros who have made it and won MVPs and World Series, and passing that on to some of the younger guys, because you guys are next. So, and I'm sure Bryant knows that, even not knowing his situation, coming up is so important for you guys, and the team will have no success if you guys don't believe in yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always big hearing from those guys, like even just little, like even meet them and just tell them like, like asking you how their day, like asking you how your day is going, just like getting that interaction with those dudes that, means a lot to minor league players, and it's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Through most of Theo Epstein's tenure with the Cubs, and then he obviously leaves, and now it's Jed Hoyer, the pitching development hasn't been probably what the Cubs would like, and I'm sure they would admit that. A lot of their success came from free agency and trades and all that kind of stuff, but the developing of pitching throughout hasn't really been there. So I'm wondering what it would mean to you to join the new group of upcoming guys, and it looks like you guys are all going to have a fair amount of success. What does that mean to you to try and change the mold?
Like I said, man, it's a blessing. And I know with the core group of guys that we have now, the sky's the limit. And I truly feel in my heart that we have multiple big leaguers down in the minor leagues that are up next. And so it's life-changing to know that you can make such an impact on such like, a historical organization.
So you said earlier about, the Heat, the Arizona Heat. You're obviously in Arizona right now. Did you grow up in Arizona?
No. I grew up in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
So yeah, what was your team growing up? Who'd you root for? Who was your rooting interest? Did you have a favorite pitcher you looked up to growing up, or?
Man, I can't really say I ever had a favorite team, just because the fact that my dad was an agent and had multiple players on different teams, and so it was basically like whenever they were playing, I was a fan of that team.
Yeah.
But man, growing up, I always looked up. One of my biggest is Nolan Ryan. Not that I ever got to watch him play or anything, but just like overall how he attacked the game was kind of someone I looked up to.
At what point in your life did you know that you had a chance to make it to Major League Baseball?
I would say probably my junior year summer when I first committed to Oklahoma. Kind of started seeing that I was throwing a little bit harder than everybody, and I kind of had a better feel to pitch than some people, and being able to get like good dudes out with just like fastball changeup. I knew that meant a lot too, and so I would say probably junior summer going into my senior year.
Is there anybody besides maybe your dad or your uncle that has come along, maybe a coach or something, that you can give a lot of credit to for helping get you to where you are right now?
So actually one of our pitching coaches here with the Cubs, his name's Gabby. I could not tell you his last name because we just call him Gabby. He was my pitching coach in 2019 in Eugene. And dude, he taught me a ton. Mike Mason that's down here has taught me a ton. Carlos Chantres. Those dudes have really they're all with the Cubs still right now. And kind of just being able to openly ask questions to them that I really wasn't sure about. And they're always giving me actual answers, explaining to me everything 100%. So I would say those guys are probably really probably the biggest three that have helped me a ton through kind of getting here.
All right. So coming from a pitcher, I want to hear your opinion on batting. How are you with the bat when you step into the batter's box? How comfortable are you? How do you feel about, Shohei Ohtani, what he does? I want to hear it from a pitcher's perspective.
You're going to be playing in a National League park too.
Yeah. So I was committed to Oklahoma as a third baseman and a pitcher. And so I feel very comfortable in the box. So, I like to think I have a clue. But, man, what Shohei Ohtani is doing that's different. That's a different planet.
Yeah.
That's a different planet. Hitting and pitching in the big leagues, dude. Yeah, you're on another planet.
Yeah. Having the same ERA as Max Scherzer and leading the American League in home runs, a little difficult.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
But that's good that you're able to say confidently that, you know, you feel comfortable up there in the box.
Absolutely.
I think we need a little more of that. So
Yeah.
There's been a big controversy across baseball throughout the season, and obviously it has a lot to do with pitchers, and I'm talking about spider tech and all the sticky stuff and all that stuff. And I would just like to know like what your thoughts are on it, because personally I would love to see pitchers be able to have some sort of substance that has their control down, and I would just like to know your thoughts on the whole thing.
I never personally used it because I got to the point where like my hands sweat a ton, and so I would just use a ton of rosin. And there was a couple of times where I like tried to like use a little something, and like I would be throwing it, just rip my skin off my fingers, and I was like, oh, this doesn't really help me out at all. So I never was really big on it. But I mean, I understand. Like, I mean, there's a ton of guys who like it's hard for them to get like legit grip on the baseball without like, you know, having something, because like everybody's hands sweat so bad, especially like when you're pitching like in like, you know, middle of the day games, like you're sweating profusely. And so I mean, I think I look at it as if they're gonna take, you know, that away from pitchers, they should take, you know, pine tar away from hitters.
Yeah, for sure.
Point. Did you play any other sports growing up, or was it all baseball?
I played basketball and football, yes, but I stopped playing football my freshman year of high school, and I stopped playing basketball my sophomore year of high school.
Were you a quarterback in football?
Yeah, quarterback. Yes, sir.
Good question.
Lucky
Yeah, lucky guess
on my part,
based on him being a pitcher. Well, you said you weren't a fan of a baseball team growing up because of your dad being an agent and all that, but being from the deep South, you had to have a football team or a college football team you were into, right?
Man, University of Oklahoma is my college football team, and Kansas City Chiefs. I'm really big on just like the closest teams to me, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, being a Chiefs fan's got to be fun right now. We're Bears fans.
It's a blast.
Here in Chicago.
That's a tough team to be a fan of right now.
Yeah,
but right now, actually, it's getting better. It looks like it's going up.
Yeah, well, when you get to Chicago, you'll see how crazy they are, because like you got Cubs fans and you got White Sox fans. You put all those crazy people together, and then they just become Bears fans.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I heard that.
Have you gotten a chance to come up to Chicago?
I have. So I went there at first when I was, I want to say 7, and I saw Barry Bonds hit 2 home runs, and I have like pictures of like myself in a Cubs jersey with a backwards Cubs hat in the stands, and me and my dad in front of Wrigley. And then the second time I was there, it was for the pre-draft workout in 2018, and that was there, and it was an unbelievable experience.
Obviously, Wrigley Field is an iconic field. Is there a stadium or a field in mind that when you are able to step foot on that mound and pitch, hopefully one day, like that'll just be a surreal moment?
Man, Wrigley's up there, but I think Busch Stadium would be so sick just because of the fact that like it's a rivalry for the Cubs. My uncle pitched there, and so it's like, so that yeah, when that happens, that'll be that's awesome. Kind of I just want to shove against them.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and if you do that, you'll be a fan favorite in 5 years.
Perfect.
So we talked a little before the show about some friends you've gotten to make over the years being in the Cubs organization and all that. Brennan Davis is someone that, you know, comes to mind. Talk about some relationship you've gotten to make with some of these guys since being drafted.
Man, yeah, Brennan's like my brother now. I mean, you know, I've known him this was going on our 4th year. And, dude, I mean, I'm talking just the best overall, most genuine person I've ever met in my entire life. Will always be there for you. Doesn't matter the situation. The most humble dude I've ever met in my entire life. I try to hype him up. He hates it. And, dude, just a great dude, great family. I mean, I would do anything for Brennan. And same with Ryan Jensen. I mean, got to know him a lot since we played together in 19. And then me, him, and Brennan started just living together, and Cole Roeder, Cam Sanders, you know, Chris Allen, a bunch of guys that like I've like grown into. It's like family now. It's like just like my best friends that I grew up with. Like that's what it feels like. Like we all have each other's backs at any opportunity.
That's interesting. I honestly love to hear it because there's been a lot of, you know, movement throughout the Cubs organization for the last 2 weeks or so with Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, everybody knows it all. And seeing you guys all come up together is going to be really cool. And I think there's actually a lot more to be excited for than some Cubs fans might realize, because of the way they handled the Anthony Rizzo trade and the return they got for Baez and Kimbrel. I mean, you got to be looking forward to all that kind of stuff, right?
Absolutely. I mean, like they kind of you never see like the the prospects that we get in those type of trades because they're not obviously on the big league roster, but dude, we got some dogs in those trades, like some unbelievable athletes, and so I mean seeing those guys come up is gonna be amazing as well.
Have any of your friends or your close friends or teammates that you've played with in college or even in high school, have any of them been drafted to other MLB teams? Like anyone close to you that's also been drafted?
Yeah, so two of my really good friends, actually three of them. Zach Matthews. So these are all guys that are all from Oklahoma that I like either played with or like just grew up knowing, like really good friends with. Zach Matthews with the Astros. He went to University of Oklahoma. Cade Cavalli was a first rounder in 2020 with the Nationals. My best friend Wyatt Olds was just drafted this past year with the Red Sox. Nick Swanson drafted with the Astros. Mac Chambers drafted with the Cardinals. And so like literally all guys like I grew up playing with are like from Oklahoma or all got drafted. A lot of them got chances this year.
That's awesome. And I'm sure, you're excited to hopefully one day play against them or with them in the MLB.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. I got one more, and I think Joey has one more after that. Have the Cubs laid out like a plan for you, whether this be when you first got drafted or anything like that? Like, hey, you're going to be in AA at this point. We hope to have you in AAA by this point. Or is it just kind of pitch until they tell you otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that really like give us like a breakdown on is inning limits. And so basically just building innings. And it doesn't really, like they told us it doesn't really matter like where you're at. It's just like as long as you build up your innings like and keep pitching, that's about all. That's all I care about really.
I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but you're on the mound. You can pitch against one batter in the MLB right now. Who you want to throw against? Yeah, take your time, think about
probably,
it.
I got one on the top of my head, and probably Juan Soto.
That's a great answer.
That's a great answer.
Any reason specifically, or just
because he's like he's super he's big on trying to show up pitchers. So I mean, I just like to go out there and compete against him a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great answer.
For sure. What do you know about the Crosstown Classic?
Not much, honestly.
It's crazy. I'll tell you that much. If you ever get the chance to pitch against the White Sox, whether it's at Wrigley Field or Guaranteed Rate Field, you're gonna enjoy yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. Just got to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and keep grinding, man. You're
absolutely
doing a lot.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Of course. Is there anyone you want to shout out, thank, anything like that before we let you go?
Well, my mom always says I never shout her out in the podcast. So I want to shout out my mom. Love you so much. Miss you. And so she'll be thankful for that one.
And Cole, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it more than you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
What a good interview.
That was really good.
And we can't thank Cole Franklin enough. Cubs #9 prospect. All the nice things you could say about someone, you could say about Cole Franklin. We're rooting for him to make it to Major League Baseball. I'd love to see him come shove against the Cardinals one day. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, if he that'll be like really cool for us if he actually if he makes it and we are able to go to his first game, like that would be sick. Like everybody well knows I root for the Cubs to go 0-162 every single season, no matter what. When he makes his MLB debut, I'm going to go to Wrigley Field and I'm going to cheer him on. I am. Yeah. I'm going to bring a hat for both teams. Maybe I'll borrow a Cubs hat because I'm not actually going to spend my hard-earned money on that crap. But, once he comes out, I'll put it on the other hat. But I will root for him. I'm not kidding. Anyone who comes on this show is a friend of mine. And I will cheer them on throughout their major league careers. Maybe they'll trade them for like a fourth starter to try and win or something, and then I'll get to fully embrace the guy. But I don't know. I'm genuinely excited. I agree with you. Maybe not as adamant about like the whole, Cubs going 0-162 thing, but When he makes his if and when he makes his MLB debut, hopefully it's in Wrigley, because I kind of want to treat it like how we treated Michael Kopech making his MLB. Like, we bought tickets that day. We made sure we were there to see that first pitch. And the fact that, you know, he's a cool guy. Like, he had a big smile on his face every question, and you get personal when you ask him, like, what are we playing? He said Warzone. Chubb says we should have got his gamer tag. Yeah, I kind of regret not trying to get his gamer tag. Maybe him and I could play some Call of Duty together. But nonetheless, he's an amazing guy. I wish him big success in the MLB in the future.
Absolutely. Couldn't be more thrilled to have him on. Can't wait to cheer him on. Maybe if he ever makes it to AAA, we'll take a drive down to Iowa and see him play for the Iowa Cubs.
Yeah. So you are single-handedly sparking the crosstown rivalry.
What do I often tell you about the work I do, whether it be my articles or the podcasts? If I can make other people think about me in their free time, I know I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
So Chubbs, when he sees the White Sox, the first thing he thinks of is Vinnie Parisi, and that makes me happier than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, I forget the saying, or I forget the word, but it's like any spotlight
good press is, or bad press is good press.
Any press is good press, or something.
Yeah,
it's something along. Press might not be the word, but I mean that's a good way to look at it, especially in this line of work.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it for the Cubs today. Let's go over the Yankee line. Oh, no, that's not it for the Cubs. Really quick, we do have to mention, I almost forgot for like a fourth time.
Yeah.
The Cubs allowed Jake Arrieta to go on waivers today. And after, you know, some very good years with the Cubs, he was truly one of the best pitchers there for 10 months, maybe a little more. And, you know, they brought him back. The experiment didn't work. They put him on waivers. And, you know, he's not going to be pitching for the Cubs anymore. And, you know, this is kind of what he's looked like pitching for the Cubs lately. And, you know, just every guy just walks up and gets a hit. That's just kind of how it works for Jake Arrieta right now, walking around the bases. They lost 10-0 yesterday, and 8 earned runs were credited to him. So it was a tough stretch for him. I don't know what his future might hold, but, I mean, I'd like to see him figure it out. And, you know, none of this Cub stuff, it's all a joke. You know, guys take me seriously, and, you know, that's their problem. But, you know, I truly wish Jake Arrieta well as he tries to, you know, maybe get another year or two out of his career, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, who did he go to after his first stint with the Cubs? Was it Philly?
The Phillies.
Yeah, and wasn't he, like, decent? Wasn't he?
Not really. He wasn't bad. He just wasn't Cubs Jake Arrieta, like old Cubs Jake Arrieta. They let him go to sign Yu Darvish.
Mm-hmm.
If they never got Yu Darvish, they probably would have given Arrieta that money. And so he would have never gotten a second stint with the team because he would have never left.
Yeah.
So Yankee lineup, really quick, before we wrap up the 2 Chicago teams, obviously playing in the Field of Dreams game. Leading off for the Yankees is a guy who has competed with Tim Anderson for 2 straight batting titles. One came in first one year, one came in first the other. Each came in second the other 2 times. So, I mean, it's been a battle. That's DJ LeMahieu, former Cub. Not a lot of people know that. Playing second base. Batting second, center fielder Brett Gardner. Can't believe that guy's still in the MLB with his thumb-looking ass. Batting third, the right fielder Aaron Judge. Batting fourth and playing left field is Joey Gallo. So at least one of the 2 Italians are in the Yankee lineup.
Did Joey Gallo always play the outfield?
Yeah, very good outfielder. Gold Glove. Batting fifth, the designated hitter, Mr. Strikeout himself, Giancarlo Stanton. He's for sure putting one in the corn tonight.
Not even.
I could not be more confident.
I'm so confident with Lynn on the mound that he's going 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Guaranteed. That's the Joey Parisi guarantee. Giancarlo Stanton, at least 2 strikeouts tonight.
Wow.
High fastballs, 96. Not even going to touch him.
Batting sixth, the first baseman and MVP runner-up from 2020 to Jose Abreu, of course, the first baseman, Luke Voit. Batting seventh and playing third base, Rougned Odor. Batting eighth, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name at all. Higeshoka. He's their catcher. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I never learned. Tyler Wade playing shortstop, and then of course batting ninth, and then of course pitching Andrew Heaney, who has a 7-8 record with a 5.45 ERA, the lefty. So it's a good Yankee lineup. It's not at its best without Gleyber Torres and Tony Rizzo and the crew. It still says Heaney's pitching, which is just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's a big game for the Yankees as they continue to climb toward the Tampa Bay Rays. They're now only 2 games back of Boston, who have just been god awful in the past 3 weeks or so, 2 weeks or so. So I mean, the Yankees they genuinely feel like they have a shot to turn this season around, and they're doing it since the deadline. It does suck that they're not going to have Rizzo in the lineup, but I mean, they're going to come to play. I think the White Sox have the edge in the lineup, but a big game like this, you never know. So yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
The good news is, in all, honesty, I want the White Sox to win really bad. I want to always remember the Field of Dreams game as something that the White Sox won. Like I think back of when the Devils played in the outdoor game at Yankee Stadium against the Rangers. Like, yeah, that was so cool seeing Marty Brodeur play, and they got killed. Like, that's always just like a little bit in the back of my mind that they got killed no matter how cool it was. I want the White Sox to win this game, but with the Oakland Athletics beating the Cleveland Guardians 16-0 right now, no matter what happens today, the White Sox are walking away from the Field of Dreams game with a double-digit lead in the American League Central Division.
I'm not worried about that one bit. They're the only team in their division with a positive run differential. They're
the only team above 500.
They're 10.5 games in the first place. I'm not worried about that one bit. You just want them to win. I want them to win this game for 2 reasons. Like you said, it's a big game. You want to always remember the Field of Dreams. We're both going to have jerseys by the end of this weekend. That's been my favorite Chicago logo in all of sports my entire life, is that Field of Dreams Sox logo. That's one reason. The other reason, I'm a Red Sox fan. This is huge for the Red Sox. Like, they've been so bad. They finally put up 20 runs yesterday. So, I mean, if you want to look at that as breaking their slump, they're able to put 20 runs on the board. This a good series for the White Sox could help my Red Sox. That, to me, is standing-wise the most important thing, because I'm not worried about the Chicago White Sox one bit in terms of the standings.
Absolutely. And you could use that as your segue. I know you wanted to mention the American League East a little bit. You can use that as your segue to go into your little soliloquy on that.
Yeah, it's just the Tampa Bay Rays are 7-3 in their past 10, as well as the New York Yankees. And here are the Red Sox 3-7. Like I said, but without yesterday, 20 runs, 20 run fest. Like, who gives up 7 runs? I think they gave up 7 runs in the top of the 9th inning and still won the game yesterday by double-digit numbers. That's crazy. They beat the Rays 20-8. So I need the Red Sox to start stringing some stuff together here. But, I mean, I'm going to take all the help I can get with the White Sox versus the Yankees this weekend.
Absolutely. Now there's the other team in the East, the National League East. All of a sudden is equally as compelling of a division as our favorite division to talk about, besides either the Sox or Cubs divisions. Our favorite non-Chicago division to talk about has been the National League West, but all of a sudden the National League East, man. The Washington Nationals and Miami Marlins are out of it, but the Philadelphia Phillies and Atlanta Bravos are separated by 0.5 games because the Phillies just won. And the Mets are 1 game back. And the Mets had up to like a 4-game lead about a week or 2 ago. It's been fun.
Mm-hmm. The Braves doing all this without Acuna Jr. is amazing. And I'm hoping that he recovers quickly enough to come back, at least play some point this season in the playoffs. I don't know if that's possible. But when he got hurt, everyone kind of started really counting out the Braves. And I'm rooting for them. They're my pick in that division, that's for sure.
No Acuna, no Soroka, no Ozuna, no Inoa, and no Anderson. First place.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And credit to the I almost said the Flyers, the Phillies as well. Bryce Harper's been on a tear.
He's going to win the MVP.
Yeah. So
And Aaron Nola might win, or not Aaron Nola. Wheeler could win Cy Young.
you made a good point. I think it was last weekend when he hit his walk-off. You said it to me and our buddy Dylan. You said Bryce Harper, in your eyes, went from being one of the most overrated players to now he's kind of underrated. And
Yes.
only in like, yeah, he might win the MVP, but in the sense of like, it seems like no one's talking about this guy. Like there's a lot of other players who took the spotlight off of him and he's killing it. So good for Bryce.
Yeah, because people don't talk about Bryce anymore in the same vein that they talk about a Fernando Tatis Jr. or a
Vlad
Tim
Guerrero.
Anderson, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., even a guy like Eloy Jimenez or, Aaron Judge is kind of in the same vein. He kind of went from being overrated to underrated. But like people are, Mookie Betts, Bellinger, Yelich, all kind of passed Harper on that little scale. And Harper might win the MVP again. And I'm kind of here for it. I'm rooting for the Braves to win the division because we have family in Atlanta. And, they're kind of becoming like my second or third favorite NL team. I really like the Giants and I really like the Mets and, of course, the Dodgers. But I don't know, man. It's and the Brew Crew, too. Got to give credit to the Brew Crew.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Phillies, though, the way they play. And today, while the interview for Cole Franklin was rolling, they had 2 outs in the 9th with a runner on first. The Phillies up 2-1, 3-2 count. A ball touched the corner. The umpire called it a ball 4. It would have ended the game if he made the right call. And Joe Girardi went ballistic. This guy runs onto the field and has a temper tantrum on the umpire. And they ended up winning anyway, which is good for that umpire. But it was a terrible call. So credit to the Phillies, man.
Damn. Yeah. And then NL West, quick preview.
Really quick before you dive into the NL West, it looks like Pena hit a grand slam at Wrigley Field to make it 9-1.
Wow.
Back to the West?
Yeah, I was also just looking at the A's and they're commanding 17-0 lead over the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah. So if the White Sox win, they'll walk away with an 11.5 game lead back to Chicago heading into mid-August.
Yeah. So the NL West,
Yep.
our other favorite division.
Love talking NL West baseball.
I'm out on the Padres.
Explain.
I don't see them making up their 8.5 game.
You're out on them in the division.
I'm out on them in the division, and I don't think they really stand a chance come playoff time, whether it be a 1-game play-in, a wild card
They
game.
will probably play the Dodgers in a 1-game wild card.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the Padres one bit. I'm not.
I think they can beat the Dodgers.
I don't. I'm way more worried about the San Francisco Giants.
Me too.
That team is the real deal.
I'm rooting for the Giants now. They're my NL team for the rest of the season.
I don't have too much stock in either team to where I kind of can root for both. And when they play each other, I'm going to be rooting for the Dodgers. I'll go ahead and make that clear now. But if the Giants win, let's say they play each other in a playoff series, I'm probably going to root for the Giants to go on and win the National League.
Yeah.
I've always liked the Giants. I rooted for them really heavy in 2012. And then again in 2014. Like I was rooting for them those entire playoffs. So it's been fun. And I'm kind of going to be on the same boat this year. Like them and the Dodgers are my 2 teams from the NL.
I think my rooting interest in the NL would go Giants 1, Braves 2, Dodgers 3. The Braves won't make the playoffs unless they win the division. The wild card is out of the question. The wild card will be 2 teams from the West.
Yeah, and that's why that's another thing. Like that's what makes that division so good is like even the third place team
has a 4.5 game lead.
Yeah, they'd be in first place in the NL East by 6 games.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy. So
the Padres are very good.
They're good. They are very good. But when compared
Something's weird about the Dodgers. Something's weird. I get a weird vibe. It's almost like, remember the 2017 Cubs? Something was weird. They were a first place team. They were off, but like something just didn't feel like something didn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right with these Dodgers. I don't know what it is. And you know what? You can clip this if they win the World Series again because they absolutely have the talent to do so. When your rotation is Kershaw, Bueller, who am I forgetting? Kershaw, Bueller. It's not obviously Bauer's not coming back.
Well, Max Scherzer.
Yeah, Max Scherzer. I mean, they added Trey Turner. They have Bellinger, Mookie Betts, Turner, Taylor. It's a stacked team. But they just don't seem to dominate everyone the way that I thought they were going to. And, they lose close games. They're under 500 against teams with winning records, which I'm not using that against them. Like I said, with the White Sox, that happens to almost every elite team. I don't know. I just, if the Padres beat them in that one game wild card, like Blake Snell had a game or they used Darvish or something, who are both having underwhelming years, but they both have experience. So I don't know. It's a weird conversation, but I'm enjoying that division race a lot.
Yeah. And I've been saying all along it's going to go down to those three teams, the final, few weeks or so. I don't really see the Padres as a threat. Maybe they'll prove me wrong.
Fair enough. So that's our NL West update. The West and the East are the two most compelling divisions in the league so far, I would say. Looking at the other ones, the AL East is up there too. The AL East is quite good. I personally think the Rays are going to run away with it. And the Red Sox and the Yankees are going to compete with the A's for playoff spots.
See, I don't know. I think the Red Sox are just so cold right now. And the fact that they're only 4 games back, I think they're going to be able to put some stuff together. Chris Sale, real quick, making his return to baseball on Saturday. It's going to be. I'm probably not going to be able to watch it, which breaks my heart. Because we'll be at the game versus the Yankees on Saturday. So if you make your way over to Guaranteed Rate Field this weekend, make sure you find Vinnie Parisi and Joey Parisi. Say hi. But I really, really am looking forward to Chris Sale coming back. I'm very high on this. That this is going to help this team and it's going to help them make up these 4 games. So I'm not out on the Boston Red Sox making up that 4-game setback on the Rays.
Yeah, I'm not actually out on the Red Sox. I just think the Rays are very good, and they're like a machine. So I don't know if I see them falling necessarily, but that game yesterday was ugly. It almost seems like the A's, they call Rob Manfred at the beginning of every season, and they make a deal to be the top wild card team. And then whether or not they win it is up to them. But I mean, one of the Red Sox or Yankees will get the other spot. I don't think. Let me take a look. I guess it's possible that they both get it and the A's just hit the bricks. But that'd be fun. A 1-game wild card between Chris Sale and Garrett Cole. Feed it to me like air.
I think every MLB fan would be.
Yeah, there are people who are detractors of the rivalry. Don't you think?
Yeah, a lot of people get annoyed with Red Sox Yankees talk.
How often it's on ESPN and whatnot. But I mean, get over it. It's a great rivalry for a reason.
Yeah.
You got any closing thoughts? Field of Dreams game?
Yeah, I'm amped up for that game. I wish there were more seats. I honestly wish it was more attainable to be able to go because we're not that far from Iowa. And
they were only sold. A lot of people don't realize this. They were only sold to Iowans. You had to have proof of an Iowa address to get the tickets. So anybody from Illinois going to the game had a hookup in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, I did not know that. But they did a phenomenal job with the visuals. Everything looks amazing. And I'm super excited. I think the MLB is going to do a great job tonight.
Me too. And a large portion of my following on Twitter is through the hockey scene, the New Jersey Devils mostly. And as a result, I have a lot of people who are fans of the Metropolitans and the Yankees. And to those who cheer on the Yankees that watch this show, good luck to you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's the one time I'm not going to be a troll. I genuinely hope it's just a great baseball game that connects families and makes people happy. That's truly what I'm rooting for tonight. I want the White Sox to kick their teeth in. I see you giving me that look. But I truly mean, like, I want everyone to enjoy themselves. This is huge, huge, huge. And I'm so happy the White Sox, like, when's the last time the White Sox had their lineup called on like Fox by like Joe Buck and all that? Like the World Series in 05 probably, right? Like I'm just so amped up for it. I don't think people realize how awesome this is for the White Sox.
Since you have no problem completely shitting on the Cubs, I hope the White Sox make this a miserable time for every single Yankees fan watching right now.
I only shit on the Cubs when people put weird comments in the chat and tell me that they root against the White Sox because of me. At thewindycity.com/Cubs, you'll read plenty of unbiased truth about the Cubs when they were good, when they were bad. I give the Cubs their fair due. Otherwise, I wouldn't be reaching out to Cole Franklin or Brennan Davis. I'd be reaching out to Jared Kelly more often. Like, give me a break.
I hope they put up 15 runs on these stupid Yankees, and I hope every Yankees fan hates the movie Field of Dreams after tonight.
All right. I don't hate hearing that coming from you. I really don't.
Yeah. So you want everyone to have a good time. You want everyone to have
a prediction.
Score prediction 7-1 Chicago White Sox.
I had 8-2. All right, we'll see what happens. Come see us at Guaranteed Rate Field.
It's going to be a solo shot from Aaron Judge, just because every time I watch that bum play,
I want to know what you were really going to say.
Chubbs wants to know where we're sitting. Honestly, Chubbs, first of all, I find it hard to believe you know that Chubbs wants to know where we're sitting, Santiago. But I don't even know where I'm sitting, so I'm in the 100 level, so find me.
I couldn't tell you where I'm sitting either game. I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, you're going to Sunday's game.
I'm going to Saturday and Sunday. And we'll be at the unfriendly confines on Sunday
night, yeah.
Green Day, Weezer, and Fall Out Boy. So
I'm excited for that. I've only been to Wrigley, I think I've been there 3 times. A Detroit game and 2 White Sox games. I've never been there. What?
You've never been there when the Cubs were just playing a random team?
No,
I guess Detroit.
Yeah, I wore a Max Scherzer jersey. But I've never been there for an event, is I guess what I'm saying, and I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Got it. I've seen Green Day there once before. I hate everything about going there, and I truly mean that. It's not me being a troll. It's annoying. It's hard to get to. There's no tailgating. It's just a big pain in the ass. Like every second that I was there on Saturday between the White Sox and the Cubs, I literally spent every second wishing I was at Guaranteed Rate Field instead, where there's better food and friendlier people. But I'm excited to see Green Day there. It's going to be an absolute blast. I know Billy Joe gets really into having the opportunity to play at Wrigley Field too, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. Green Day, you've seen them before. I've never seen Green Day before. It's going to be a check off of bands I've always wanted to see, but I'm knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone because I've always wanted to see Fall Out Boy, and I'm almost just as excited, if not more excited, to see Fall Out Boy than I am Green Day. I'll just go ahead and say that.
Fair enough. It's not a bad take. They're both great bands. Weezer will be fun. We've seen them play like 3 or 4 songs at the Winter Classic, but we'll be able to really see them now. Yeah. So, Field of Dreams game. Make sure you're watching Fox 6 p.m. and following at Vinnie Parisi on Twitter, where I'll be sharing lots of videos and articles from SouthsideShowdown.com. You could catch it from, the White Sox point of view there. Follow my friends at Yanks Go Yard FS on Fansided too, from the Yankee point of view. Those guys do great work. They get the most views in the entire MLB division, so credit to them. We're in like the 5th or 6th range at Southside Showdown, which isn't bad for the second team. But I hope everybody enjoyed this show, the Field of Dreams preview, the interview with Cole Franklin. Thank you again for having him on. And for at Joey Parisi on Twitter, I'm at Vinnie Parisi on Twitter. Thank you for listening.